All right, good evening and welcome to the Trading Bell Show. I hope you have been keeping well and safe in this season and hope to give you some excellent analysis that will help you make decisions when it comes to matters markets. The show today is dedicated to understand post-budget release, what to expect. I'm joined by Job Wanjohi, Head of Research, Policy and Advocacy at the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. And we're going to be looking at the macroeconomics because definitely manufacturing falls in that sector. Job, it's good to have you on the show. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Excellent. How have you been doing, first of all?
It has been a very busy period for the last 15 months because of the consistent fight against COVID-19, trying to come up with the various policy measures. And we are happy that government has adopted some of them, but still have a long way to go as far as the policy prescription and adoption and implementation is concerned. But so far, so good. We have remained resilient as we're moving to sustainability.
Excellent. I can't wait to kick straight to the conversation because the budget was just read and I know you had your expectations. I don't know whether they were met, and what is your immediate reaction to this?
Thank you so much. Indeed, one of the things that we're looking at is to have very stable macroeconomics and the statistics in the budget. We are happy that it's a very ambitious budget. Even when we are setting our individual targets, we try to set them as high as possible. It's a question of looking at how these can be achieved. So we have a budget of 3.66 trillion Kenya shillings, and the revenue collection expected is around 2 trillion Kenya shillings. That means the budget already has a deficit of 1.6 trillion Kenya shillings. For those who don't understand economics, deficit is the difference between the expenditure expected by the government in the whole year and the revenues to be collected by revenue bodies within that year. So you find the difference is that there is a shortage of the revenues to be collected. That means the government has to get into borrowing. Then in borrowing, you find that there is interest rates to be charged and whatnot. So if you look at the macroeconomics, you find that the budget is ambitious, but down there, we don't have very stable leading and lagging indicators. The other thing is that if you look at the allocation towards COVID, we were hoping that we would get about 35 billion allocated towards COVID, so that we can get 30% of our Kenyan population getting vaccinated, but we got about 14.3. So looking at how, again, the government can look into the figures and we get into vaccination of 30% of Kenyan population in the next 1 year.
Wow, absolutely, and very interesting sentiments there. Let's jump into the manufacturing sector that you really represent. And I just want to also as well get your reactions generally, because you speak on behalf of the many that are under your care. What has been the reactions? Were the expectations met, or are you still having some battle to fight?
Given that the government is policy-wise constrained at the moment, and even from revenue angle, you find that there is push and pull between the manufacturing sector and the national treasury when we are trying to get into a bilateral negotiation around policies and the revenue targets. So you find that there are some measures that have been put, and we cannot separate the finance bill 2021 from the budget statement that was read, because finance bill 2021 is what that is going to take into effect some of the policy measures and revenue measures that have been put in the budget statement. So you find that we have now exemption status that has been introduced for medicines and the medical equipment. And the exempt status is not a very good tax status because those who are in manufacturing are unable to claim back the refunds that are owed by the government. But if we have been put in the zero-rated VAT status, that one would help them to get the difference between the output tax and the input tax. Also, if you look at the sweet manufacturers, and the sweet confectionaries falls within the bracket of the biggest consumers are our children. In fact, there's an excess duty that has been introduced of 20 shillings per per kg of sweet confectioneries. Again, this is getting deeper into the pockets of manufacturers, and you'll find that if now you correlate with other expectations in the economy, talk of the capital market, talk of the margins and the profits for these companies, their sustainability during COVID, they're likely to be affected. When you're even talking about chocolate manufacturers, the local chocolate manufacturers, we have an imposition of 200 shillings per kg, and this again is going to get deeper into manufacturers. One of the things that we need to look at more critically is what we call the EBITDA, is earning before interests, depreciation, taxes, and amortization. There is a change on the formula that is used in determination of the interest that is deductible from the books of account. And this is now changing from a ratio before, which was equity to debt of 1 to a ratio of 3, and that is being capped at 30%. That means the interest that you can only deduct in the books of account is it's only at a maximum of 30%. But before, if you could meet the ratio, you are able to deduct up to 100%. Again, it's a loss on manufacturers and the private sector, and is a cost on them. And it's likely to affect the macroeconomics of these companies post-budget period.
Wow, that's a very in-depth look at how the manufacturing sector will perform. And of course, my final question to you would be this, because right here at the boss, we have quite a number of the macroeconomic sector, that is the manufacturing sector, definitely represented here in big numbers. And, you know, investors are definitely uncertain of post the budget, how will the markets, specifically for the manufacturing sector, behave? I don't know what will be your comment on that, and then we could close on that.
I would say that if during the post-budget analysis together with the government, we can be able to agree on enhancement of the taxation base rather than an enhancement of taxation rate. Like when you're talking about the chocolate, the sweets and water, which fall under food and beverage sector, that is enhancement of the taxation rate, because you find that those who are already compliant are the ones who are being targeted to contribute more. If you again look at when talking of earning before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization, is something else that is going to affect manufacturers going forward. And for any investor to come to the capital market, they look at the profitability, they look at the margin levels, they look at the sustainability, they look at the resilience of some of these sectors, so that they can determine whether they're going to invest in them. So you'll find that if the government is not going to consider reversing some of these measures, punitive, harsh taxation measures, even like the one that we talk about, the minimum tax at 1%, that is looking at taxing from the gross turnover, of which you find that even the loss-making companies, the startups and whatnot, you find some of these harsh taxation measures will force some of these investors not to look at investing in our country. Even if we're looking from a foreign direct investment, looking at a local direct investment, coming to the capital market and investing in such areas. So we have more discussions to do with the government during the new normal of the COVID pandemic, and find how we can ensure that the manufacturing sector remains resilient and sustainable during this period, without introducing more policy measures that are punitive, more taxation measures that are punitive, so that we can have more of these investors coming through the capital market and any other channel that is available to invest in the country.
Wow, thank you so much, Job Wanjohi there, Head of Research, Policy and Advocacy at the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, giving us an in-depth look at how the manufacturing sector will behave post the budget reading.